how quickly and well can I fix these little things in my cafe? This is Keys to the Shop, episode 498. 10 things to fix in your coffee shop this week. Well, hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Keys to the Shop, where we give you insights, inspiration, and the tools you need to grow as a coffee service professional. My name is Chris DiFurio, and I'm your host for this show. And we've been doing this for a while now, almost 8 years. But if you're new to the show, welcome. If you're not new, thank you, because you probably have listened to good many episodes. And when people tell me they listen all the time, I'm always honored. And it's, just kind of a strange feeling to know that there are so many people that have listened to this show around the world. And these ideas and these practices that we espouse on the show, these are timeless things. We try to be as timeless as possible and get down to what really matters in the world of coffee work and cafe work, people first leadership, operations, quality. That's a lot of the theme that we center on this show. Very practical stuff, inspiring stuff. And it would be great for you to subscribe to this show. If you're not already subscribed, a lot of people listen to the podcast but are not subscribed. One of the best ways to help this show get more traction in the marketplace of podcasts is to actually be subscribed, and also to share the episodes and spread the word about Keys to the Shop. If you've got friends, loved ones, peers, family, pets, anybody who really think would enjoy these episodes, sharing this on social media or just in conversation over cocktails, whatever it might be, is great. And so thank you, all of you who have done so. It really makes a big difference. And I've even heard of people recommending this show to people outside of the coffee industry, especially recently. I don't know what it is about recently, but a few people have mentioned this to me, that they have someone working in corporate world, or they have somebody working in another industry, and they're like, you should listen to this podcast about coffee. And they're like, why would I listen to this show about coffee? And, it happens to be similar to how coffee shops are. How coffee shops are these common gathering places. The themes and the tools and things that we talk about are very useful across a lot of different demographics and industries. And so even if the person is not a coffee aficionado, then it's fine. It's probably fine. And it's probably great for them to learn a little bit more about coffee, but a lot about management, leadership, operations through the lens of a coffee shop. So anyway, I will jump off that high horse and then go to this little bit of information, which is something you might already know, but I'm going to mention it anyway. Keys to the Shop offers coaching and consulting one-on-one with coffee shop owners, as well as in concert with their staff. And usually it's like a management team. There are lots of people I meet with one-on-one who are clients of Keys to the Shop Consulting, and I get to know their management team. And we work together, managers and owners. It's actually one of the more fun things that I do because, sometimes there is this misunderstanding that gets going on between owners and managers. If you listen to our last episode, Caught in the Middle in Management Frustration, you'll understand. But, the show talks about a lot of this dynamic that happens between groups in the cafe. But with coaching and consulting, I love working one-on-one with people, digging into the context in the situation that is unique to your cafe and the personalities of the people, yourself and your team, that contribute to what this coffee shop is and what it can be for you and for your team and for your community. So there's lots of opportunities with one-on-one coaching and consulting to improve your operations, your quality, and your culture. So if this interests you and you'd like to talk further, have kind of a conversation and a bit of a free consultation, then go ahead and email chris@keystotheshop.com. That's CHRIS at keystotheshop.com. And I would love to have a conversation with you. So let's go ahead and get that scheduled. Chris@keystotheshop.com. Best place to go to get in contact for that. Now, today's episode is brought to you by two sponsors that have long been with the show. We're talking about the Grounds Control Brewer. You can find out more information at groundscontrol.coffee, as well as the Barista Series from Pacific. Find out more information at pacificfoodservice.com. More on them later in this episode. But today I wanted to talk to you about I guess you could call it a list of pet peeves. Okay. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Okay. Part of the benefit of doing this show is it's a little bit cathartic. Okay. I have been around cafes for a long time. It's the only thing I've ever done professionally speaking. So if that's tragic or amazing, you be the judge. But my choices have led me to this road. Many old pastries and regretful espressos and delightful espressos later, here I am doing podcasts and living the trope of the podcaster life. Okay, so fully embracing it, of course. But part of the catharsis is getting to talk about the things that in cafes are frustrating to me as a person. Now, what you find out about people in general in life is that you're more alike than you are different. And if you're bothered by something in a restaurant or in a coffee shop, chances are your customers are bothered by it. We have a concept here at Keys to the Shop, something I talk about in my presentations all the time. And that concept is a concept of white noise and, well, we'll say negative white noise. And when you remove that white noise, if you've ever been in an environment where all of a sudden the air conditioner turns off, or the engine of an airplane goes quiet. If you're not used to flying, it's a little freaky. You're like, oh, are we gliding now? What's happening? No, it's just part of the thing airplanes do. But the impact of the absence of the thing that you were used to has a visceral effect on you. You notice it because you had gotten used to it. Customers have been hurt by coffee in the past, whether that's at the hand of hospitality that has been not given and or given in a bad way, or inconsistencies in the coffee and, a environment that is less than conducive for enjoyment. Coffee shops are an exercise in learning on the part of those who start them, and also an exercise of patience and sometimes teeth-gritting patience with the people who vote with their dollars to go to these coffee shops that are in a learning process. Now, at this stage in the coffee industry, there's enough information that we should be starting coffee shops at a higher level than we used to. So that means the little quirks and idiosyncrasies of coffee shops from the 90s ideally wouldn't be repeated today, because we've got enough case studies of coffee shops that we've either gone to or you've listened to this show or read in books enough to know that, we won't do that. We're going to be better. Now, in some ways, I think the average coffee shop that opens today is probably a little bit better equipped than it used to be. But for some reason, the little things in the cafe that really just, they bother people so much. And yes, I am just kind of channeling their energy right now. They persist, and they don't need to. And I'm thinking about this because I was going to do another episode on cleaning, and I still might do another episode on cleaning. I used to give a presentation called The Meaning of Cleaning, and that still might be a thing. But it is the little things taken together that create a major impact in the way people understand your values. You can talk a big talk, but your actions speak louder than your words. And the absence of functionality and comfort and the promised great experience is kind of the lie that specialty coffee shops tell all the time. We promise them one thing, we give them another, and then we're like, oopsie, well, we're just scrappy entrepreneurs. Gotta love me. I'm the baby. Gotta love me. Does anybody ever watch that show from the 90s, Dinosaurs? Oh, gosh. I don't know what we were doing in the 90s, but it was weird. I got to experience both the 80s and the 90s. I was born in 78. But anyway, the point is we use and leverage our position almost as a way of excusing a lack of action towards little things. And so here's my challenge to you today. We all have these things on our mind that are little that we say, you know what, I'm not going to do anything about that because frankly, I've got bigger fish to fry. I've got bigger things to think about, and I need to put all of my energy into those things. Now, technically, are you right? Yes. You are correct that you have big things to think about. Are you correct that those little things don't matter? You are wrong. They do matter. And if you can't get the little things right, the big things eventually won't be there for you to worry about. you won't have to worry about as many staff because you won't have as many staff. Or there won't be as much to manage because the business will have to get smaller. So we have to be attentive to the small things. And so here's the challenge. I titled this 10 Small Things to Fix in Your Coffee Shop this week. Take today, the day that you hear this, and then forward 7 days from now and say, how quickly and well can I fix these little things in my cafe? And I would even go a step further and say, how can you keep them fixed? What is it that you need to institute in your business to keep these little things fixed? And that little exercise, that challenge, that sprint toward fixing those little things is going to set you on a trajectory of, hey, it wasn't as scary as I thought. Just doing that little thing made a difference. And it's as much as, like, for instance, a client of mine recently had a sign out on the front of their property, and they're on a major highway, and there's a lot of cars passing by. One thing we noticed was that the sign was not as robust as it could be. Now, you can get out on social media. You can say, we love the customers we have. We're going to grow through word of mouth. But we needed to get the word coffee in big letters. And so the suggestion was, when I was out there, hey, among many other things, we need a bigger sign. We're going to need a bigger boat, if we want to land more clients. Today, I got off a call with them, and they showed me pictures of this big, beautiful sign. The name of their company was on there, yes, but the biggest font times 3 of what their company's font was for the word coffee. People could see it for miles around. You could see it from space. And it's already made a difference, I'm told, in how many people have come in because they saw the sign. Now, I got to tell you, they've thought of this before, and they have just been busy. But taking that step to just do it, to just take action and do it, makes a big difference. And so maybe it's not constructing a new sign, because that's kind of a big deal. You have to wait for people to make it, or you have to make it yourself, and it takes time. I'm trying to break this down to little things. So let's cover the 10 things that I want you to fix this week. And if you say, I don't think that we have to fix this, I'm going to bet that you're wrong. And if you can prove me wrong, send me photos and be like, hey, this is actually something that we pride ourselves on never having go wrong in our coffee shop, then by golly, you're awesome. So let's go to number 1. And this is going to be the outside windowsills and outside area of your coffee shop. This is the first place where people say, not my problem. It is the landlord's responsibility. It is just the way things are out there. But inside my coffee shop is great. Outside my coffee shop, not so much, but when you get in. But really, the outside of your business is the first part of the story of the customer's experience. And if it doesn't look beautiful, if it doesn't look clean, well taken care of, arranged, welcoming, warm, all of the symmetry, all of this stuff, then customers are going to form an opinion right away. The same way you do when you walk up to a restaurant and it just looks disheveled on the outside. You're like, oh, this place was highly rated. I hope I was right. I mean, everybody said it was great. And you get inside and you're like, oh, they don't give a crap about the outside. I see. But the food was great. Now, why put people through that problem of having to do that mental math? Why not just start the journey the right way by attending to the windowsills on the outside, attending to keeping the gravel and cigarette butts and everything else on the outside picked up? Sending people out to do cafe sweeps in the front area is so critical. Now, the next thing I think you should focus on here is the windows of your business. I would plead with you, actually, to hire a window cleaning service. It is worth the money. If you have the professional equipment and you just consider it like Zen in the art of motorcycles or something, like this is your moment when you're using the squeegee and it just feels like you're one with nature, fine. Then go ahead and keep doing it. But what ends up happening is we say, hey, can you go wipe the windows? Can you go wipe down the windows? And people take like what amounts to a wad of toilet paper and they just like move the grease around, every kid's sugary, greasy paw prints on the window and all this other stuff accumulating and getting smeared. It looks so great when the sun is not shining on it, but then later on, it's just nasty. You need to get your windows cleaned professionally so that people understand it's the little things that matter. It's clear that you're open. It's clear that you care, right? Literally. And do it a few times a week if you have to. If you have a particularly dirty area, it's an investment into the aesthetic that, let's say you have a great Instagram account, you've got to work really hard to live up to the reputation of your digital footprint. Most people do. That expectation there's almost no way that you can live up to that expectation. That's the downside of social media. But you got to try. And keeping your windows very, very clean all the time matters. Now, if you do have to have your baristas clean things, teach them to clean the windows the right way. Use microfiber towels. Don't just use one side of the towel for everything. Have a 2 or 3 towel system for cleaning. Look into a YouTube. This sounds so funny. There are probably, and I will guarantee there are YouTube videos out there, how to wash windows well. Okay. And that will give your baristas, like, we're not just learning about coffee here. I'm an expert window washer, when I have to be, but get it professionally done. And then also you should probably teach your staff to do it really well and keep these things on point. Okay, so now remember, this is in the course of a week. So you're going to have to choose where you start to address these things. And addressing them and taking the first step might mean setting up the window washing service. It might mean going outside after you listen to this, clean the outside window ledges and the sidewalk and other areas that are maybe not technically yours to do anything about, but you have to do it because it's your reputation. Take action on these things. Number 3 is going to be your bathrooms. The bathrooms, soon after listening to this, I think you should go into your bathrooms and really just sit there and stare at it. Just sit there, lock the door, look around, and soak it in. Look at the paper towel dispenser. You like that? Look at the soap dispenser. Look at the handles of things. Look at where the toilet paper is. Just look at this toilet itself. Is this what you want? If you have an amazing bathroom, then you're already ahead of so many people. We have a whole shift break called Your Bathroom Stinks. But customers really appreciate a beautiful bathroom. And when a bathroom is taken care of, they step back and they're like, what in the world is going on? This is nicer than my bathroom. Well, yeah, we are professionals and we are hosting you in our cafe, and our cafe has standards for everything because it's not just that we're serving coffee, we're serving you. And we want to make sure your experience here through coffee is great. And that includes the bathroom. So the step to take is fix that thing, whatever it is in the bathroom, fix it right away, as fast as you possibly can. Spend the money to do it. Don't do this thing where, it's broken, so let's go ahead and use a squeeze bottle with soap, what people with their dirty hands have to pick up all the time. This makes no sense. Okay, it is strange. And then I have to do weird gymnastics with my hands, be like, I don't want to touch it with my fingertips. I want to I don't know, just gross. Especially after 2020, people are way more sensitive about this stuff. So you've got to invest in the functionality of your bathroom, the beautifying of it. When was the last time you cleaned the baseboards? When was the last time you took a sponge and soap and cleaned the 3 feet of space or 4 feet around the toilet on the wall? I know you don't want to know what's on that wall, but you got to. We're not trying to develop a patina here. That doesn't count as character. That's only in woodwork. Okay. Anyway, bathrooms. That's a big thing. Fix it this week. You can do it. You can do it. If this was a competition for reality television and I told you $10,000 to the person who can get these things done this week. Now, I'm not giving you $10,000, that's for sure. But sufficiently motivated by money or something of equivalent value, I think people can accomplish a lot. It's just that we're caught in the rut of daily life and we don't feel sufficiently motivated because it's working. Customers aren't complaining. I'm busy. I'm tired, etc. But once you force yourself over that hump of those excuses and you take care of these small things, you'll find that you actually had a reserve of energy, similar to the kind of reserve of energy that you have when you're running and you feel like you're going to die. There's no way you can go another mile. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of bees start chasing you. And you're all of a sudden like, I could run 6 miles. Hey everybody, it's Chris. We're going to get right back to our list here in our conversation about the cafe, but I wanted to talk a little bit about our sponsors. First, Ground Control. This brewer, that you can find out more information at groundscontrol.coffee, has been taking the world by storm. The innovation that they have unlocked with this brewer has really unlocked coffee. The flavor profiles of coffees brewed on a Ground Control are vast and far-ranging and highly controllable, highly repeatable, elevating batch brew coffee higher than it's ever been. Not only that, but the SCA award-winning technology creates batched concentrates of cold brew and espresso for batch-sized lattes and cold brew in your cafe. So it's an all-in-one machine. Their new brewer is coming to the market, 30% higher output of those concentrates with a smaller footprint and a lower MSRP. So again, go ahead and check them out at groundscontrol.coffee and find out more and see if this machine is right for your cafe. Now, I also want to thank and recognize the awesome folks over at the Barista Series from Pacific. The Barista Series is a line of plant-based performance beverages designed for baristas, tested by world-class baristas, and designed for performance. It stands up to the heat from steaming, it creates amazing texture, and it also keeps the flavor balance focused on the coffee, which is really kind of important if you think about it. So check them out at pacificfoodservice.com. Get samples and steam it. Try it. Taste it and see what I mean. Taste and see for yourself. I think you're going to be impressed. And if you're looking for the best plant-based beverages for your customers, you definitely have to check out the Barista Series from Pacific. Okay, now let's get back to our episode. So, maybe a bad analogy, but here's the next one. Clean your coffee urns way more often. Your coffee urns and your group heads probably need to be cleaned way more often. Group heads, I want to see brushed and cleaned at the top of every hour. Switch your screens and screws every hour. Have backups. Clean your urns every day with Cafiza, with a stiff bristled brush on the inside. You have to actually scrub the inside of this thing nightly because the brushed stainless steel will accumulate a lot of gunk and weirdness. You have to start doing this right away. Your coffee will taste so much better if you clean things and people aren't tasting just the remnants of old coffee. That includes the brew baskets. So I know we've focused so much on cleaning right now, but I think it's important, and these are the small things that make a big difference to customers. So the coffee urns and the places where coffee comes into contact with surfaces all needs to be beautiful and clean. And just as a bonus one here, keep your fingertips away from the rims of cups, please. You see your baristas palming these cups with their lanky fingers curling over like an octopus dragging a ship under the water. That's, ugh. Just use the handle and pour the drink and keep the surfaces clean, okay? So anyway, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and now 5, your tables. Now, I'm not going to get into the cleaning of, fine. Cleaning of tables needs to be done very well. Don't spray things outside of the bar. Spray the towel behind the bar, bring it out to the table, and then wipe the table. Use that word. Clean the table with the towel. Don't spray so that the cloud migrates and contaminates somebody's latte 3 tables over. Keep it clean. Keep your eyes out for it. Remember the shift break about spiders, about how spiders know what's happening in their web all the way across the web? They can sense it. You should sense it. You should see what's needed, how to bust tables and clean things quickly. And none of this wet table, wet forearms like you're at Chili's type of thing, okay? But what I really want to say about tables, it's kind of funny because it's the wobbly tables that if somebody could solve that problem, and you know what? The thing is, you can solve that problem. There are different mechanisms you can buy that are self-adjusting bases for tables. And there are already bases that have feet that screw out that actually level your table if you took the time to go around the cafe and re-level your tables, because customers, they move the tables. And you're like, I'm not even going to fight this battle because customers just move it and our floor is not level. But hear me out here. You have to do this. You know how many times I have watched somebody spill their drink because they placed it down and, silly them, trusted the table. They trusted the table. Oh, rookie mistake. Don't you know that a coffee bar just can't level their tables? you have to accept that about us because we are scrappy entrepreneurs. Gotta love us. We can level our tables. I used to travel with a rubber shim in my backpack to go to coffee shops to work because I never trust the table. If you don't believe me, your coffee shop right now probably has a folded up cup sleeve shoved underneath there, or a tissue shoved underneath. And not only a cup sleeve, but a cup sleeve from like 6 different runs of cup sleeves ago. It's a solution that has picked up the history of your cafe in the form of dead skin cells over the course of many years. It has become a part, and if you got rid of it, people might actually be emotional. That's how bad it is in some cafes. So we need to get these tables leveled. If you need to get the self-leveling technology that's out there, or you just need to teach people how to do it in the cafe, to go out there and check the tables for being leveled. It's the kind of hospitality that you read about in Unreasonable Hospitality and many other books out there, but you don't actually practice in your cafe. We always think, well, we need to apply those principles with specialty drinks. But really, it has more to do with table leveling than it does fancy ingredients in your drinks, because customers' interpretation of care in your coffee shop is not nearly as narrowly focused as yours is. It's on those little things that seem inconsequential. So level these tables. We don't want wobbly tables. We just want things to work. Okay, so now that's halfway through the list. And I'm expounding upon these things. But if I just gave you a list of these 10 things and I said, you have to do these this week, I think it's very approachable. And you should really challenge yourself to do it. By the way, if you do it, let me know. I will share this on social media. I will boost your business on Keys to the Shop. Like, hey, we took Chris up on the 10 things to fix in your cafe challenge. And man, it was maybe a little bit of sweat there, but we're glad we did it. Send me what happens, please. The next thing is clutter. When you go to some of these sub shops, you see them putting like 37 tomatoes out in a row, and it looks really kind of cool because it's just like choreography. If you see one person doing it, you're like, I don't know what's wrong with that guy. But if you see 12 people doing it, you're like, they should be in a music video. It's amazing. Look at that. It's like Penn Station subs, if you're familiar with that place. They put out all the potatoes in a row. Like, these are the potatoes. And I think that's actually the potatoes they use. But in your cafe, it's really not that cool to put all of their boxes of cups out in the customer area. It's really not that cool to leave all of the milk cartons just next to the bathroom and allow these things to just pile up higher and higher. Now, I understand that maybe there's limitations in your space. So I will give you the grace of saying maybe it's just a consequence of being super busy in a small space and we just need more room and we don't have it. You have to work with what you got. And sometimes they don't come to pick up the milk crates on time, and where else are we going to put them? And we're busy, and the boxes for the delivery have to be put somewhere. And well, Chris, you just happened to catch us on a day where the baristas didn't have a chance to put it away. I understand that. Lived it many, many years. But I have been to enough coffee shops to know that there's just now a place where clutter becomes part of the decor. Barista backpacks, deliveries that never get put away, unofficial locations for unofficial inventory. This kind of stuff builds up and it just dampens what could be a great experience because it feels so like closed in and disheveled, like you don't know what you're doing. And so if you can declutter and find space for that inventory, find a place for the barista backpacks and sweaters and personal beverages and other things that is put away, that is not visually impairing people's ability to enjoy your space that you designed, probably not with that in mind. It's like if you've got the architectural drawing, you didn't say, oh, and this is the space where all this garbage is going to be. That's not part of the design. So let's see if you can take away some of that stuff and put it in a place where it feels a lot more intentional. Again, you can start with the personal items. You can move to the remnants of inventory that gets put away during the day, whether that's bulk coffee from the roastery or it's from your paper goods provider and or pastry provider and things that are set up to get washed. There are ways to arrange these things that's a little bit better than what you're doing right now, likely. Okay, so declutter a bit. It really makes a big difference. Now we're going to move into hospitality a little bit. everything that we've covered so far involves inanimate objects. So you just need to like fix them or buy them or push them over there and do a thing, and it has been accomplished, right? But when it comes to people, it's a little bit more complicated, but still, I think that this is something that is able to be done within the span of a week, and you can take action on it right away. The first thing we're going to talk about is leveling up your service with the specific action of eye contact and smiling. So what I want you to do is start a campaign, start a movement in hospitality where it's all about heads up service. Heads up service. That doesn't mean you're not looking at what you're doing, but it means we are including in our awareness the eye contact and the standing tall and with pride in what we're doing and attention to the customer for whom we are doing it. And that communicates a lot more intentionality rather than hunching down, zeroing in, looking a little passive aggressive because we're just busy. Now, and I'm one of these people that if I'm not focused on being hospitable and smiling and head up service, I don't have a neutral. I automatically look angry, and I understand that. Call it a curse of genetics and bad habits. I don't know what it is, but I accept that. And so maybe you have people like that. But the thing is, we all should be intentionally remembering we are on display. We want heads up service. We want to welcome the customer. And just having that phrase, heads up service, and introducing that to your crew. You can just start talking to people this week about how I really want to focus on this one thing in hospitality, and it's heads up service. It is making eye contact and actually taking control and being confident in the interactions that we have with people. What this does is it kind of pushes aside this whole hurrying people through the line and acting as though they're interrupting you when, you're coming up to the register. If you have heads up service, you're confident, you stand tall in your work, and you include who is on the other side of the counter with what's happening behind the counter in your world there, then you're never going to be in this place where the customer is actually interrupting you because they were never on the outside to begin with. They're included. They're in the cafe, and they automatically are in your space, the space that you're working in and created for them to enjoy coffee in. And so just that phrase, let it be the first step in the catalyst of better hospitality. It is an action that everybody can take. And if you can muster the troops behind it, then I think it'll actually make a huge difference in your coffee shop. I'm going to also include in this list hello and goodbye and thank you. Let's add thank you too. So how many times do we say hello and then we fail to say goodbye? And we don't really greet people. We need to train our staff and ourselves to start really greeting people. Now, if this is not something that you can expect your staff to do this week, you yourself need to demonstrate this all the time. Demonstrate this and then start introducing it in the expectations of the job description of barista work to greet people as they come in. And I'm not talking about welcome to Moe's, welcome to Moe's, welcome to Walgreens, and saying it the same way. And sometimes people will even have their heads down. They'll hear the door and they'll yell it. Okay, check. I greeted the customer. That's not the same. That is not the same. We are in control of this space. We are here to welcome people and to make them feel acknowledged and included and cared for. And so it is your responsibility as a barista to do that and use a greeting. Greet them well and be aware of when they're leaving. Bye, thank you. People love that. Even if their heart is 5 sizes too small, eventually it will warm up. Eventually it will grow. I've seen the coldest and frostiest of people become less so over time. And I'm not going to let somebody stop me from doing what I know is right and best. And that's what's right and best, is to practice a higher level. And it just starts with behaviors. And not to get too far down a rabbit hole here, but you can't wait for the emotion. You have to take the action and let your actions determine your emotion. Your emotions follow action. And if you say, I don't feel like being hospitable, just practice being hospitable. Have a little faith in the process. There was a time you did feel like it. Put your faith in that version of you that's still somewhere deep down in there. okay? Even if the caffeine hasn't hit yet. And of course, life just throws you curveballs, and sometimes it's not easy. And that's when we have to rely on just sheer will. But that is the kind of thing that I think you can do, even starting this week with the hospitality. 1, heads up service as a theme. Start introducing it, start demonstrating it. 2, welcome, acknowledge, welcome and included. Hello, welcome them in, connect with them in a meaningful way like that. And then say goodbye, say thank you. Work at meaning it, okay? Obviously, we don't want people to simply mouth these words as a perfunctory thing. And honestly, if it's impossible for you to do this, if you really have a lot of embitterness about, towards the customer, it is a sign that, yeah, maybe something is going on. Maybe this isn't the right job for you. It could be something I want to acknowledge. I mean, it obviously could be that the situation in the cafe you work in is just not a good situation. But I'm saying all of these things, assuming that all things being equal, things are going all right. And that these little things that we can change are not pushing against some extreme situation, but are just things that you can add to a situation that's average, okay? And so the last thing, and I'm going to control myself because I could probably talk about many things. Truthfully, this was the 20 small things to fix this week episode. I just changed it to 10. And it is to start to prioritize training the point of sale the same as you train the barista. It is probably the most undertrained station in terms of tact that people use and skill and testing, resourcing. I like to tell people in your onboarding materials, before anyone even touches the register, they should already know what the register looks like. They should be practicing on a separate register, like training wheels almost, but at least print out the screenshots of all the different menus and sub-menus that you have so they know where things are. So people aren't going to get up there and all of a sudden lose feeling in their limbs when a customer orders a cappuccino and they're like, where is it? I don't know. And then that dreaded, that turning like, hey, where's the thing on the thing? Where's that button on this item? And when you have to ask your coworkers that question too many times, even though it's a legitimate question because you might not have been trained the right way, you kind of feel like you should know. And often it's the person who's not trained you that's to blame, but you take the responsibility on yourself and you feel silly and the customer's waiting and they're like, I've never had to wait this long to get checked out for a cappuccino before. And your coworker is busy trying to mess around with replacing the pump on the vanilla syrup, and they forgot that it overflows when you put it in too fast. I mean, now it's just awkward. And it could have been avoided if we decided that we need to train each station in our cafe to perform very, very well its task and also how it helps the other stations. So with the POS, the action that you can take this week is whatever manual you have, start to write and include something for point of sale. Frequently asked questions. How do we conduct ourselves? What does the hospitality at the POS look like? Here's the printouts of the POS menu and where you can find all of the things that are going to be your responsibility to do under pressure. And prioritize it, especially because the point of sale and the person at that register controls the flow of all the things that happen in the cafe. That's a really important position. You can start doing that this week. It doesn't need to be completed this week, but just start it and maybe get it done in the next week or so and put it into practice and add to it as you learn about what your cafe needs. So for all these 10 things, some of them are way quicker than others. Maybe start with the quickest of them and be like, okay, I'm making momentum. Then start with the second and third and fourth and work your way down the list and tell me what happens. I think, just like when you compete in barista competitions, this rather unrealistic sprint of 10 things in 1 week will show you the capacity that you have for productivity, where you don't need to excuse yourself from taking action on the small things. So then in the weeks afterwards, you can settle into a rhythm of noticing and taking action that doesn't necessitate a sprint in the future. This is what our coffee shops are built on. It's what good habits are built on. And I think it'll be fun. So I hope that you enjoyed this conversation. There's going to be a bunch of episodes and shift break episodes in the show notes if you want to dive in deeper to some of these things. And as always, I'm here to have a conversation with you if you would like. If you want to work with me one-on-one to help you improve your coffee shop, go ahead and email chris@keystotheshop.com, and maybe working with Keys to the Shop Consulting is the right fit. And with that, that is the end of our episode. Everybody, I appreciate you greatly. I hope you have an amazing week fixing small things. And as always, I hope that this episode has truly given you keys to the shop.